My name is Luc Vandenabel. I'm working on the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology, RTO located in Luxembourg, and I am the project coordinator of the PAsCAL project. This project is about how to improve the understanding of the implication of connected and automated vehicles on society. It will create a guide to autonomy to capture this new knowledge. Outcomes of the project will contribute not only on the training of future drivers and passengers, but also will contribute to help decision makers to move towards the new forms of individual and collective mobility made possible by the spread of driverless cars. It involves 13 partners from 7 countries with a duration of 3 years, almost 4 million euros of budget, and we are now at the midterm of the project. The vision of the project is to develop an interdisciplinary mix of innovative tools in order to explain what CAV are and how they work, remove issues that hinder people's acceptance of CAV, assess the impact of connected transport on society, educate future drivers and non-drivers on safe, responsible, and informed spread of CAV technology, and last but not least, design effective recommendations and guidelines on guiding people to autonomy. This vision is reflected in the 7 objectives of PAsCAL project. The first objective is to develop a Europe-wide multidimensional maps of public acceptance for higher levels of connectivity and automation in transport. And this is for different user groups, including current non-drivers. Objective number 2, optimize and validate connected and automated transport solutions for current non-drivers. Objective number 3, analyze drivers' behavior in different kinds of scenarios. The next objective, number 4, is identify the impact factors and their dependencies, which reflect identified issues and also lessons learned. Objective number 5 is to investigate new driver training needs and also certification requirements for new technologies or levels of automation. The next objective, number 6, is to assess attitudes towards shared modes of transport and the inclusions of CAVE as part of some fleets. And the last objective is to evaluate the short-term and long-term impact of the PAsCAL solutions by developing guidelines and recommendations on common issues, approaches, and lessons learned across all transport modes and targeting different private and public stakeholders. To fulfill these objectives, of course, PAsCAL has a series of activities and outcomes, and what you see here in the screen are a series of tools that are corresponding to the outcomes of the different work packages of PAsCAL. First, we have a series of specific surveys that will allow us to get the perception and the expectation of citizens regarding the new autonomous and connected driving technologies. And these surveys will try to better understand the fears and concerns of the citizens and help us to prepare the solution that will be provided by the project. Then we have also a series of simulators, and the result of the simulation experiment will provide us a better understanding of the reason for the distrust towards caves expressed by many citizens. They will describe reactions and behaviors in situations that are still completely new and yet to be determined. They will be also useful for some conclusion to be drawn in terms of vehicles design, human-machines interface layouts, and also maybe some more holistic organization of the transport system. We have also a series of training requirements and training modules that can help to best train CAV users, the current drivers. In addition of all these tools, PAsCAL will finally create 5 road transport pilot projects that will be conducted in different countries of the European Union. And this pilot project will focus respectively on autonomous high-capacity buses, user training through driving schools and driving academies, different types of connected shared vehicles, vehicles for emergency services, and last but not least, application that allows people with disabilities to travel thanks to new autonomous driving technologies within a transport network. And all this new knowledge that has been collected in the different outcomes of the project will be incorporated into the Guide to Autonomy, which will be made available to all relevant stakeholders. In the next slide, I will go deeper in the different status for the outcomes of the project. The first outcome is regarding the surveys, and you see on the screen the timeline for the generation of the different surveys during the project. You see there are 4 steps from preparatory work until the representative survey populating 5,000 people. For the moment we are in the exploratory study. I just mentioned the main outcomes that are split in 2 parts. The first is the positive expectation and the second is the negative ones. For the positive expectation, most people see that there will be an amelioration in terms of reduction of pollution, amelioration in the life quality, in the parking spaces, in the fact that the travel can be more pleasant, and in the reduction of the number of the accidents. In terms of negative expectation, it's more focusing on the privacy aspect. And you can see here that there are some negative aspects regarding the government control, the surveillance in general, and most people are fearing some hacking situation. And for some of them, but it's a majority also, the fact that we are using some cave is preventing to have some pleasure of driving. Of course, it's a small part of the outcomes of the survey. More detail can be found in the deliverable 3.1 that will be available at the end of this November. Next, you see the outcomes for the simulators part. You see that it's also in 4 steps. We are in the second one. The first step was about the definition of the experiment, with the definition of the scenario, the protocol, and the description of the population to be experimented. The second phase is about the development of the experiment, and in this phase we have designed and developed both things. The first is about the human-machine interaction required, and then the second is about the updates and the development of the different simulators tools. Most of this work is done and ready, but there are still some elements to fix. Of course, the next part will be the performing of the experiment and the analysis of the experiment. But as you can guess, we are now in a general lockdown situation that prevents us to organize face-to-face activities with external people. So we are now considering some delays about the performing of the experiment, and we are hoping that everything will be in order in the next 6 months. As pictures are worth 1,000 words, you see in these slides the different simulators that are ready for the experiment, and we are hoping that this experiment will occur very soon, dependently of the COVID situation, of course. So what next for the project? First, about the pilot studies. As you can see, we have started to work on the pilot methodology, and in a few months the pilot should run. Of course, there is also some question about the possibility due to the COVID situation, but we will see. In the second part of the project, we will work, of course, on the guide to autonomy, which is the main outcome of the project. We have just started with some specification and definition, but the second part of the project will focus on it. Finally, we'll also work on the exploitation activities of the project to be sure that all the outcomes will be successfully exploited and adopted by the stakeholders. I thank you very much for your attention.